You, by the way, you froze for a second. You looked like you were just praising Jesus.
No, that's gonna leak in the...
Holy Lord.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm gonna start on Angel's Wings, and I'm gonna traumatize a whole swath of people out there.
Oh man. Hey everyone, remember last week when we said it's getting kind of bad out here? It's even worse. I don't know what you know about the
I'm so
I don't know if you know.
scared.
Like, wow, literally they're threatening like maybe nuclear war today. That's crazy.
I'm like flying out in a few days for the Beach Too Sandy Florida shows, and I like was on Reddit this morning and it was like ICE officers take over CVG terminal, and I'm like, what? Like, this is so
Did you hear like a sheriff in Florida was
Yeah.
like telling people like if you protest, we're like it wasn't even like we're gonna arrest you. They were saying we will tell your family where to find the remains. Literally, like at a press conference was like we will kill you, and we'll let your family know where to find the remains.
That's just good. That's just
Is
excellent
that
stuff.
not the like
Our
Oh,
gay gasps. Oh my god.
I know.
It's like, why are we surprised? We're not surprised. It's just like every day feels like another version of hell that just like gets more and
Quagmire
more.
nebulous.
Yes, it's just like layer upon layer upon layer. And when I laugh, it really is not a laugh of funny. It is a laugh of like
No.
hysteria, because I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know,
We're laughing at a funeral. It's like you can't stop it.
It's like you just feel like you're in the Twilight Zone. Yeah, I was making my little sign. I made a little sign. It says "Immigrants make Cincy great," because I had a lot of other ones, and my family said they were too inflammatory, so I stayed with this one. I know they were a little much. I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll just like keep it toned down on just for this time.
I will tell you, I tried to. I'm making a new friend I found on Bumble BFF. And,
don't roll your eyes. We're excited for you.
No. Here's the eye rolling part. Is that we were trying to plan when to hang out, and she was like, "Well, I can only hang out till a certain time because of curfew, and like I don't want to get arrested." And I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe we just try a different day." Like I was like,
yeah,
it's
like the world is like just on its axis, but it's like tipping, but it's also changing every day, but also getting worse every day, and like there's more like fun wrenches thrown into everything. I mean, it felt like this was going to happen at some. I felt like we were barreling toward it. Now that we're here, it's a scary thing. You know how bad it is? How bad it is? I went and got a twisted tea from my mini fridge. You remember the last time I drank a twisted tea?
When another horrible crisis, what happened?
Editing our goddamn live show all night. Oh my god. I drank these for so long, and then to stay awake, and then I drank them at the ghost hunts to stay awake, and then I stopped because I was like, oh, I'm so triggered by spiked iced tea. I can't even think about it. And now here I am. I just went to my mini fridge and grabbed it without thinking. It's like 2:00 in the afternoon. That's crisis mode kicking in. This is my body keeps a score. And twisted tea is like a somatic memory for me.
It's gotta be. I mean, I honestly, you know who I also want to give a shout out to is all the therapists in the world right now, because I had my therapy session last night.
Lord bless them.
To talk about everything going on in the world. And I was just like, are you okay? Like you're just hearing every single person's like independent horror version of this. Like, so anyway, shout out to all the therapists out there who are like holding the shit down for us, because I feel so bad for you.
At least they have their own therapist usually.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I did. I was like, you have a therapist, right? Yeah.
Yep.
But no, I hope everyone's doing okay, as okay as you can be.
We posted. I mean, this is also coming out like a week later. I don't know. Like I don't even know if what's going to be on the news in a week. Like it could be some other whole different nuclear warfare. Who knows what the fuck's going to happen next week? So we're recording this like Friday the 13th of all things.
Oh my god!
I know. And tomorrow are all these planned protests across the country. So we're kind of as we record, we're a little heightened, if you can't tell.
We're a little maybe too on, but also like, I hope this is your distraction of the day. Congratulations.
Just like up here a little bit, I think. And then the twisted tea won't help. So I apologize, but like, this is life. Hope y'all are okay.
It's a bad week, everyone. So
Look
I
out
hope
for your neighbors.
look out for your neighbors. And also, this is my PSA because I've been having a real struggle. Usually this is a Christine PSA, but now that I've got Hank in my life, I've been really worried about everyone's. Yeah, I've been really worried about everyone's
just,
pets.
Like, eeks up. I know this. It doesn't eek up. It like skyrockets. Like I feel like the moment you have a pet, you're like, oh my god, I don't want any. I mean, not that I ever wanted a pet to suffer, but you'd get this like personal like level of anxiety.
Yeah, I just envision him like crying and like. But so anyway, if there is anybody in your life that you are worried about maybe being confronted with ice, or if you know anyone who's even protesting regardless of their skin color, and maybe they're gonna get detained or arrested for protesting, if we could all like make sure we have buddy systems, like check-ins, where if you know someone that has a pet, if they don't get back to you at a certain time, please go check on their pet. Because I'm just thinking of all the dogs out there or cats out there, anyone who either just needs to be fed or like all the animals that are probably just starving in a house right now, or like can't get out to go to the bathroom, or what if they're like diabetic or disabled in some way.
Then think about the kids.
Yeah, I can't. That's why I'm thinking about the pets, because I'm like,
I know.
This is like such a smaller tidbit that feels like something.
No, but you're right. Like that's where it's like a chain of just horror. I mean, down the line, just none of it is.
Pets is the farthest I can go without like having a full blown mental breakdown personally. So if you know anyone who has any living dependents, please make a buddy system or get into a group chat and start having regular check-ins with everyone, and know where everyone's backup key is to their place. So,
and I hope it's not under a fake rock. Do something.
Not under a
fake
rock.
If you're listening to this true crime podcast, please don't put put a key under your rock.
Get creative. Anyway, I don't. Is that? Why do you drink?
I drink. We actually do have some good news in the midst of all this, which obviously was not timed, but we launched our own network, and we haven't talked about it at all. But it's like a huge deal to us. We've been trying to do this for years. And, with everything going on, and like we have so many moving parts just in the podcast itself, and, touring, and then I've Beached You Sandy. We've just kind of like, and it's been in the works for so long that it sort of felt like when it happened, we were like, okay, here it is. It wasn't as big of a fanfare, I think.
We've been trying to create it since like COVID,
for a long time, like many years. Yeah. So we finally found the perfect partner, which was QCODE, and they've just been awesome in helping us like, our first show, Ladies and Tangents. We're so happy that there are like first little, and then we have some more exciting news coming soon that some of you have been just like guessing on Reddit and stuff. I'm excited to get those out too, but I am not allowed to say anything yet. So
no, I'm very proud of us. It really did.
What's it called?
Oh, it's called ParaPods Network.
So I didn't know until we got the trademark and the logo and the website domain that ParaPods are also a type of like millipede.
Yeah.
And that was an unfortunate discovery, although I do find it kind of funny that we didn't really think to look that up. Like it could have been worse. It could have been something much worse, but it is a weird little worm.
Maybe we'll just do like some limited edition merch one day with a little worm on it.
Okay, we'll put a millipede on it, and it'll be like,
make it
what does that mean?
Like our secondary mascot, like a mascot.
That's so good, a little millipede mascot. That's
it could be two little millipedes up on microphones, just chatting.
I'm having the time of my life thinking about this.
Think of all their little toes. I love a freaky little toe. You know it.
Yeah, but not on a well, yeah. From an animated perspective, there are a lot of little toes. Okay, yeah, so that's our announcement. We're really excited. Ladies and Tangents are some of our greatest podcast pals. We just love them. And we have we're like working behind the scenes, making stuff happen, getting creative. It's a really fun time and a lot of like new energy, I feel like, in our world. Like just a lot of new stuff going on, which is always fun. And then, there's also the rest of the world. So it's a very weird dichotomy, but, I think everyone can relate. Oh, there's a word. It's called hyper. Oh my gosh, I just sent it to somebody. It's a word that means like, it's this idea that while the world is falling down and all the systems are breaking down, like you're just living your day-to-day life. And there's like this disconnect where you feel like, like how we feel, almost crazy. Like, well, the world's falling apart, but I'm just like going to work and making coffee in the morning. It just feels like
unfortunately, that word these days is just called everyday. That's
yeah,
what that
well,
word is.
it is.
But I
But
do know
there's
what
like
you
a
mean.
scientific word for it. And I, of course, don't remember, but it's called hyper something.
Interesting.
And I'm sure it's super interesting.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. It was very interesting.
No, I'm saying I'm sure that the word is great. I just can't think of it.
It is certainly, here's one word. It's actually one of my friend's favorite words, juxtaposition.
That's
It's
an excellent word.
Yeah, it is because everything's heightened, including the bad stuff. So like everything kind of accidentally comes back down to like a weird baseline.
Yeah. That's a good juxtaposition.
But
One of my favorite words, which I'm sure everyone knows, is that I always say there's a dichotomy between the two.
It's not my favorite word until you say it. Is double entendre. I don't
That's
know
also why are they always about these two? You know, like there's always a flip.
Because we're Geminis.
That's right. You're so smart.
We identify a little too closely with those words.
Two sides of the same coin. You know what I mean?
No, I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of us for even having a network. This is something we talked about for the longest time.
It felt
it's just
like impossible for a while because we were like, well, nobody wants to do this with us, so oh well.
It was a long road ahead. It was also a lot of like behind the scenes stuff that's like shockingly maybe like boring information that it just
exactly
like
we weren't even privy to a lot of it because it was like just paperwork and stuff we don't totally like understand.
So shout out to our manager Maggie.
Yeah, Maggie just nailed it as usual.
But it's it's a very big deal, and it's definitely being rightfully overshadowed by the state of the world. But it's still, we should eventually have some sort of little celebration for it. So.
I know. And the logo, by the way, if you see it, we actually got the Instagram handle, so it is on there if you want to go look, or just look at our, and that's why I drink socials. But it's so Em and I had this deranged day of like planning the logo because we got to the point where we were like, we need a logo, and we were like, we better come up with one instead of just like a clip art microphone. I was like, we're not doing that. So we had this like unhinged brainstorming session, which involved a lot of screaming at Allison when she was organizing the turmeric bottles. She was literally dumping turmeric. Wait, I just told this story, I think, on the podcast. Well, now you know what we were doing. We were making the logo for the ParaPods
I'll never
Network.
forget that day because I just remember being like, of all the moments,
literally the funniest thing that ever happened.
Like, turmeric is not what's necessary right now. Please go somewhere else.
Like, I'll be quiet, and then all of a sudden you just hear like glass clanging, and she goes, "Oh, I'm just like I'm just compiling the turmeric," and you're like, "Why?"
have I told you the one time that I was on the phone with my mom, and both of us are dating? It seems the same person. They both. We're obviously on the phone, and while in the same room as us, Allison decided to start the vacuum cleaner while I'm on the phone, and then Tom decided to start the vacuum cleaner while my mom was on the phone.
They're just time to clean,
and you could hear both of us at the same time go, "Is that important right now? Like, could you do that later,
please?"
They're too type A. They forget what else is going on in the room.
I mean, wow.
What was I going to say?
The logo.
Yes, the logo. So I
am on my deathbed.
By the way, the reason I drink is because it's confirmed these are allergies to dog.
Shut up.
So I've been coughing since April.
I'm not joking. That was a ZocDoc doctor you saw?
Yeah, and it was my usual one too, that we did a whole blood panel, everything. And
jeez.
So this is I mean, I'm gonna obviously get on like some allergy medication, but this is just forever now.
Great.
That's why I drink.
Yeah. Good reason.
No, the logo, first of all, shout out again. Of course, we had Kirk do it. Who
he
did
signed his emails. Every single email signature was Kirk (parentheses from work), and it made me smile every time. Kirk from work.
He's a good one. I kept pitching, I think it was me, that all of the other networks, they don't seem to have like a fun logo. It's kind of just like the word. And I was like, oh, I want it to be fun and like cutesy.
Yeah, we had to find a way to do it like without going overboard with the way we want to, like our podcast logo. They were like, you can't do something like that. It's too much.
So your name's Christine, not Allison. Christine just. Oh. So
never mind, it's Christine.
Christine was the one who did you pitch the name ParaPods to me? How did we even come up with the name?
No, Maggie. Well, I did, but Maggie and Steve at QCODE pitched it via email while we were literally minutes, not probably seconds, from walking on stage at a live show. And for some reason, I just turned around and blurted, "Hey, Maggie just sent an idea, ParaPods," and we stood there and we were like, and they were literally doing an announcement at the live show. And we were like, ParaPods. And we were both like, do we like it? As it, like, I think Maggie was the most shocked she's ever been. We were like, love it. And she was like, what? You just check,
Well,
good to go. But we had those moments that she hadn't thought of. When I said ParaPods to M.
And we had two different meanings behind it.
Yes.
Christine saw it as paranormal pods.
And I thought, oh, it's perfect because then you take out the normal and it's just ParaPods. Like I thought, oh, we take out the paranormal and then it's like ParaPods.
But I saw it as like, oh, like a pair of podcasters.
I love that. And since like, you know, now we have Ladies and Tangents and we have you and I, and it's just like this kind of nice little pair of podcasts. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the whole point of our network is we want two or multiple friends talking to each other about
buddies.
Spooky stuff. And it's going to be kind of running the gamut on what type of spooky stuff, but spooky friend podcasts. That's the whole thing.
Like,
and
yeah.
It worked out. So one of the things that we were trying to do is how do we make a logo that has to do with like friendship while also being spooky, and that
also
was
being
what took
about
us.
A podcast.
Yeah, it took quite a lot of stuff, but I think you're the one who realized.
Oh my god! Then about an hour in, Allison shows up and she goes, "Have you thought about just like getting a picture of a microphone?" And I was like, "I'm going to throw that glass turmeric bottle in your head." We were like, "Have we thought of a microphone?" We were like so deranged.
But that's where our best stuff comes out, because then one of us, I think it was me, who said, "Oh, what about like a best friendship like locket, where like it's kind of like the two pieces come together?" And I think you're the one who said, "Oh, when it's upside down, it looks like a Ouija planchette." And I went, "Shut the fuck up, Christine."
Well, and then I think maybe even, I don't know who came up with the Ouija thing, but then there was a circle and we were like, oh wait, what could the circle be? We were like, oh, a magnifying glass for like kind of true crime or anything. If you have not seen it, you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's supposed to look like a little friendship necklace that's also a little planchette.
Anyway, poor Kirk from work, because we sent this email. We were like, hey, what do you feel about making a best friendship locket that's also a Ouija planchette upside down and a magnifying glass with an audio form?
It, last Thursday. Thank you. Poor guy.
Anyway, shout out again to Kirk from work, because he's a dream. Also, what was I going to say? Just shout out to everybody. Just shout out to all the people who made this possible.
It's just been a lot of work behind the scenes for a lot of people that were mostly not us. So thank you, everybody, for that. Oh, and here we go.
This podcast is sponsored by Faye Nutrition. Faye connects you directly with registered dietitians, the real food and nutrition experts, for personalized nutrition counseling tailored specifically to you. And the best part is that all dietitians on Faye take insurance, so 95% of people pay $0 for their sessions. Truly $0. And now that I'm walking, I'm eating a little better. I'm not even trying to. I don't know what's happening. Maybe the sun really does help you mentally. Faye matches you one-on-one with a dedicated dietitian who will help you understand your body's unique needs, and your personal dietitian will work with you to create sustainable, evidence-based programs, not just quick fixes. Whether you're trying to lose weight, dealing with low energy, digestive discomfort, managing conditions like PCOS or diabetes, navigating food allergies, I mean, you name it. Or if you just want clarity amidst all the confusing diet noise, getting personalized guidance could be the foundational support you need. At Faye, they believe expert nutrition counseling should be accessible to everyone, and it's so simple to find a dietitian who fits your needs and to instantly check your insurance coverage before signing up. Having a personalized nutritionist used to cost big bucks, but not anymore with Faye. Listeners of And That's Why We Drink can qualify to see a registered dietitian for as little as $0 by visiting faynutrition.com/drink. That's faynutrition.com/drink. One last time, that's faynutrition.com/drink, and make sure you use the URL to know that we sent you. Meow, meow, meow. Hello, it's me, it's Juniper. Wait, what was my accent last time? Hello. Nope. Geo, get out of here. Hey, it's Juniper. Yeah, that's me. I'm hungry. Well, good thing I have Smalls. Smalls cat food is protein-packed recipes made with preservative-free ingredients you might find in your fridge, and it's delivered right to your door. That's why Cats.com named Smalls their best overall cat food. And I gotta say, I've eaten a lot of things in this world, a lot of things I should have eaten, and a lot of things I should not have eaten. But I'll tell you, out of all of that, Smalls is my favorite. To get 60% off your first order plus free shipping, head to smalls.com and use our promo code DRINK for a limited time only. And here's a fun fact for you. After switching to Smalls, 88% of cat owners reported overall health improvements. That's why I feel big and strong. For a limited time only, because you are an And That's Why We Drink listener, you can get 60% off your first order of Smalls plus free shipping by using our code DRINK. Yeah, that's 60% off when you head to smalls.com and use promo code DRINK. Again, that's promo code DRINK for 60% off your first order, plus free shipping at smalls.com. Yum, 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 yum. Here's why I drink this week. It is a story called The Baleroy Mansion. And if you've heard of it before, it's because it was in our very first book, A Haunted Road Atlas.
Aha.
And it's the Philadelphia story.
I read that book.
You sure did, because you had to interject.
I did.
Yeah, it was funny. Someone was like, what's it like writing a whole book? And I was like, technically it was half a book.
Yeah, it was. But then we wrote 2 of them. And so I was like, now we've officially each written 1 book, which feels better.
You get it. You get it. That's exactly what I said, too.
Yeah.
All right. So the Baleroy Mansion, this is in Philly. This is in Northwest Philly. And it's in a neighborhood called Chestnut Hill on what I think is precious, Mermaid Lane.
Ooh.
Imagine having like a house with a pool in the back and you get to play mermaids on Mermaid Lane.
You'd be the talk of the town.
Okay, quick question before it gets scary. What if we were to play mermaids? What is your
And we will.
What is your tail color? What is your sea life companion? Like what? And then what's your superpower?
Love it. Okay, I am typically purple tail. And I think my companion, I'm trying to think of how it.
Because like a flounder's overdone.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like, I feel like it's probably changed since I was a kid. I'd say maybe a seahorse, but that also feels a little like on the nose. Maybe like a dolphin. I feel like something that can like, an octopus. They're so smart. An octopus.
Cool.
What is yours?
Well, what's your superpower?
Oh, superpower. I can talk to the octopus.
Okay.
Well, okay, cool. And he can talk back. That's important too. Sorry, I can talk to anything. It also talks back.
Leave it to the professional yapper that her superpower is that she can yap.
Just talking to more entities, more living
The superpower
beings.
isn't that you can talk; it's that you can listen. That's what it is.
Oh, that's beautiful, Em.
Mine is always green to purple, iridescent.
Yeah,
where, like,
of course,
depending on where the light hits. Green to purple. My companion is. I always want to say, no, not flounder. Wow, an otter. But for some reason, the otter is always a mess. Like she has a crush on a shark or something, and I'm like, girl, let's go.
Probably like is holding hands with another otter, and you're like, hello, you're supposed to be like my sidekick. Yeah,
I feel like it was kind of like I accidentally like rescued her from like a patch of coral or something, and
oh my god,
and now like she just won't leave me alone. Like I feel like it's kind of a frenemy thing.
Look at the thanks you get.
I know. My superpower, I like to think that I can just swim faster than all the other mermaids.
That's a really good one though, because that would like really come in handy every day.
Yeah.
You get to the cafeteria first.
That's what I'm saying.
You could probably outrun that fucking otter if you really wanted to.
Yeah, but something keeps me held back.
That's kind of the will they won't they beauty of that friendship, you know?
I know. Okay, so pretend we're on Mermaid Lane.
Yep.
Except not mermaids anymore. Now just people. But wasn't that fun for a moment?
It was. I like to live in the imaginary space for a few minutes at a time.
It was a nice escape while nuclear war is imminent.
That's right. If we don't get PBS, we're gonna make our own fucking imagination. Okay,
okay, so Baleroy Mansion, it's on Mermaid Lane. It is 7,000 square feet. Okay, girl.
Cool.
Which, fun fact, because I constantly spew this fact to people, a mansion by definition is 5,000 square feet and 5 bedrooms. If you don't have both, then it's not a mansion.
So like yours and mine are both like triple mansions, right?
Yes, sure. On Mermaid Lane where anything's possible. Yeah.
Right. Where dreams are reality. Where your delusions come true.
Yeah. See, that's the superpower.
That's actually really nice.
So 7,000 square feet, and it has over 30 rooms. Now, I do want to clarify that does include like kitchen and living room, because in my stupid brain, 30 rooms means 30 bedrooms.
30 rooms. Yeah, that's an important distinction.
Yeah. So this may be named after the Chateau de Baleroy in France. That's the best guess we've got. And it is often called the most haunted house in the country, although obviously it's competing with other houses.
Yeah.
But maybe in Philly, that's what they say. So this was built in 1911, and the rumor goes that the original owner of this house was a carpenter who allegedly killed his wife in one of the 30 rooms.
What, like Clue? What the fuck? in one of the rooms?
In the bedroom.
Is it in the bedroom?
Apparently in the bedroom, but...
Why did you say one of 30 rooms?
want you to guess. I want you to like to have a
I mean,
moment.
I did feel like we were playing Clue. I was like, do they not know? Like, that's just so random.
Yeah, wouldn't they have figured that out? Anyway, the carpenter killed his wife in the bedroom.
Oh my God.
And the house, I don't know what happened in between this time, or I don't know when that happened, but all that matters is by 1926, it was bought by another family called the Easbys.
Okay.
Cute little name.
I like it.
They are direct descendants of Civil War General George Meade. George Meade.
Oh, Meade.
He's
him.
Well,
I have
was
heard
actually
of him, actually.
I was gonna say, as a Fredericksburger, I hear his name.
That
quite
was
a
a
lot.
thing. Yeah.
He fought in the Battle of Fredericksburg.
Oh.
So yeah, they're direct descendants of him. I think they're his they're his grandkids. And as descendants of him, and as people connected and attached to history, they had quite an antique collection in this mansion. So when they moved in, they brought with them a cannonball from the Battle of Gettysburg.
Whoa.
They brought in items from Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, Napoleon, Marie Antoinette.
Jesus.
One of the things that they had was the sterling silver that was used at the dinner. How do I say it? I'm trying to make it a more concise sentence. It was the silverware they used at the Declaration of Independence signing.
Whoa! They had silverware. They're like, here, we brought some refreshments, some light refreshments, some really watery lemonade, and here's a silver fork.
Some dirty berries from outside.
Yeah. We dug these up outside.
But no, I guess after they all signed, they had like a big party, and at that dinner, this mansion had the silverware.
I guess
from
that would
party.
have been the party of the century, literally. The party of the...
Certainly the best party of the country
millennium.
At that time.
Yeah, for sure. The first party of the country. It's kind of cool.
Well, I only have like I was trying to find more history before we got into the ghosts. I only have one more piece of history.
Ghosts.
Which is that in 1992, the best year ever, there was a robbery in the mansion and over $200,000 worth of stuff was stolen.
I thought it was the best year ever. It sounds like it was not a good time.
Not for the Baleroy Mansion.
No.
But in somewhere in Freehold, New Jersey, maybe a hospital where there's a crying baby. It was a pretty good year.
Just a little sparkle over there.
So anyway, that was the only fun fact I have for you, is that at some point some of the stuff got stolen.
That stinks.
Okay, now on to the ghosts.
Probably
that
was
one
easy. Cannonball worth like $200,000.
I know. Well, they probably could only lug that one thing up. It was so heavy.
They had to they were like, all right, this is all we're leaving with. And then what do you do with the giant cannonball,
Funny you should single out the cannonball, because I don't know it. If there's a history buff out there who wants to let us know more of the info, awesome. But apparently there's some drama with this cannonball.
I feel like I'm not surprised. Civil War collectors get really dramatic. I'm not saying they're not warranted. I'm just saying, yeah, but I mean the collectors they get really intense. I mean, like any sort of collection, I guess. But
so apparently there was some guy, I don't remember his name. It was Squiggles or something stupid.
Sure, yeah, I'm sure that was it.
Him and General Meade had some real beef with each other. That was Hank. They had some real beef with each other, and he defied General Meade's orders. Mm-hmm. He was told don't go to this section, and then he did anyway. But then he ended up getting the Medal of Honor, and this cannonball somehow involved.
Oh boy!
So there's drama there.
Drama.
Okay, so on to the
another
ghosts.
podcast. That's for another podcast to cover.
It is. So first encounter for the Easby family is that when they moved in, they had kids. They had George and Stephen.
Okay.
And so George and Stephen would be the great grandkids of General Meade.
Right.
I think George was 11 and Stephen was 6. And there was this fountain out in the courtyard of this mansion, and they would go and sit by this fountain. Some sources say that Stephen was weirdly obsessed with the fountain. I don't know how true that is, if it's just to add flair.
I guess if you're a kid, a fountain in your new house is pretty cool.
I saw one source though that he would stare at a picture of it all the time.
Oh, okay, that's weird. It's one thing to stare at it if they're little butterflies or
you miss
a koi pond. I don't know, but yeah, staring at a picture of it is a little strange.
Well, so yeah, some rumors say that he was obsessed with this fountain. George was I don't know, this fountain freaks me out. I'm not really into it. But one day they're both at the fountain together, and George recalls seeing their reflections, but he only sees his reflection, and where Stephen's reflection should be, there's a skeleton. And days after this, Stephen gets mysteriously sick and unexpectedly passed away. And he was 6.
That's so traumatic
Yeah.
for that child. I mean, obviously, but like to feel like you knew or like you connected it somehow. Oh, that's sad.
So ever since then, people have always heard and seen a little blonde boy throughout the property.
Okay.
And workers on the property have seen him looking at them from the window where his room used to be. And one time at a dinner party when George was much older and he lived at this house on his own, he had a dinner party here that everyone heard a loud crash. And when they went to go into the other room to see what it was, a portrait of Stephen had lifted itself off of its hook and flown across the room.
Bye.
So throughout the years, Stephen was a frequent ghost at the mansion. Other spirits here include an older woman with a cane hovering in the hall. Girl, you don't need the cane if you're hovering.
I was going to say, well, maybe it like helps. Oh God, did you ever watch Haunting of Hill House? There's like that cane and he like drags himself along. Ugh.
Oh my God.
So scary.
No, I haven't seen that, but thank you so much for something
for the visual.
Horrible. I was thinking like maybe like she rose herself with the cane or something, you know?
Yeah, that's sort of the same vibe, a little more whimsical though.
Yeah, a little wispier. Mm-hmm. Okay, so old lady in the hall, a monk, which I've gotten no information on that, just a random monk.
It probably comes with one of those antiques.
Oh, so smart. Thomas Jefferson. Well, you're as smart as that octopus.
That's right. We share a brain.
Thomas Jefferson is a ghost here. By the dining room clock. And by the dining room clock only, which is so interesting. The concept of ghosts, I'm like, Thomas Jefferson has so many other places to be.
It
like,
makes no sense.
Is he like scattered across where like only like 5% of his spirit is all the time here? Or is it 5% of the time his whole spirit is here?
I have a feeling they can just manifest in any place. Like time is not.
Yeah.
You know, they're in a different dimension. Like time is not relative. I feel like that's what they say about if you have like spirit guides or angels and people say like, well, what if they're busy? And it's like, no, that's not, they don't have like the time, the linear time that we have, you know, they like exist sans time.
I mean, obviously we're not supposed to understand. And then he's
standing by a clock. Maybe he's like, what's this thing? Because he forgot.
Actually, that's so trippy. You are as smart as that octopus. I gotta tell you.
Listen, it's this twisted tea. I'm halfway through.
Well, in the mansion, you know, there's some usual stuff that happens, like lights flickering, people hearing voices and footsteps, people have gotten grabbed, and the security alarms go off for no reason. And they've gone off so many times that the cops in the area are aware of this and will literally report ghosts as the cause.
I love that. And then someone robs them of $200-some thousand, and they're like,
I know.
Oh, shoot, we thought it was another ghost.
Honestly, maybe it was one of the cops because they're like, well, no one's coming, you know?
Yeah, we know how this one goes.
So one time a minister was at the house and a teapot threw itself across the room and hit him in the head.
Oh, shit.
Yikes. Also in this mansion, weirdly, no plants can be kept alive.
Oh, ew, that feels ick.
Yeah. There's persistent knocking on the walls and people have witnessed some sort of ectoplasm mist everywhere.
Ooh, what? Like a wet mist?
Like a smoke mist.
Okay. The ectoplasm threw me off. I thought of like goo.
No, I would think the same thing. Like someone just like a children's slime is just hovering in the air, right?
Yeah.
We will talk about the mist again in a second. So
great.
Maybe some of your answers, you'll get those. There was one worker named Dave who refused to go in the basement by himself because the last time he did, he heard someone down there calling his name over and over again.
Dave.
Nope. People have seen and heard, I know you're going to like this one because this one never happens. I'm so excited when it does. People have seen and heard phantom vintage cars coming up the driveway. I love when that happens. Or like the horse-drawn carriages.
Oh, the horses too. Oh, I love that shit where you're like, that is not a modern day vehicle sound. Oh, that's so cool.
It always blows my mind when you're seeing something outside of the house.
Yeah, like when something repeats just like as a scene almost outside.
Yeah, and it makes me wonder like how far away proximity-wise until that's not possible. Or can I just see a ghost like downtown right now on like a main street? You know what I mean?
I wonder if you just have to like slip into a different time for a moment. You know what I mean? Like It seems like it happens when people are kind of like in that, I don't know, sometimes like half awake state or.
Yeah. I don't know. It's we'll never know.
We might.
We might, and then we
I
won't be
think
able to tell anyone.
We'll solve the case.
In eternity, perhaps.
Someday.
George, who, again, ended up inheriting the house from his parents, when he was older, he would wake up to someone sitting on the bed and grabbing his arm to a point of it being bruised the next day.
Ooh, that's bad.
People have also had items ripped out of their hands. He is very open about the place being haunted. There was actually an interview when he was still alive, where he's talking about the ghost, and he was so blasé about it. He was like, "Oh, yeah, the ghost." He would have reporters come in sometimes if they wanted to do an interview, and one reporter had a tape recorder and it flew out of her hand, and he was like, "Oh, what happened? Did you get like a shock or something?" And she was like, "No, I didn't do anything. It got ripped out of my hand."
Ew.
Hated that.
I hate that.
One source says that when George was a kid, he put on a puppet show at the house, and everyone watching ended up looking horrified. And he later found out it's because they saw the puppet's face morph into a skull.
Oh my, multiple people saw that happen. Oh,
isn't that
my God.
Horrific?
That's horrific. And then he's like, time for the applause.
Yeah, let me bow. Yeah.
Go to your room.
There's also the Blue Room, which is the room that held a lot of the antiques, especially the silverware. And in this room is also the death chair, which is apparently built in the 18th century. That's kind of as much info as we have. One source said like, "Oh, well, Warlock made it," and I was like, "Okay, whatever." Maybe, I don't know.
Maybe.
But so it was made in the 18th century, and it's they think it's cursed because whoever sits in it will have an untimely death. Ooh. And after 4 different people died within 2 weeks of sitting in the chair, George prohibited people from ever sitting in it again.
Do you think the little boy sat in it?
Oh. Like when no one was looking?
Yeah.
Oh. I think you did just crack a case. That feels
That's sad.
That feels like that would make sense. It said that this chair also has a ghost attached to it, and the ghost name is, depending on the source, Amelia or Amanda. Most sources said Amanda, which I don't know how deep into TikTok you are these days, but for the people who like TikTok and know what soundbite I'm referring to, there's a TikTok sound where people show like a really like creepy version of themselves, and the voiceover is, "I'm Amanda, like I'm 6." Like it's very creepy. Anyway, that's what I think of. That's what I think of when I hear like this ghost Amanda that's like cursed to a chair.
Yeah, it'll be relevant for everybody.
Someone out there really fucking appreciate that.
Gotta chuckle, yeah.
Okay, so yes, this ghost Amanda is attached to the chair. Depending on who you talk to, the name might change, but I'm sticking with that. Amanda apparently lures people to sit onto the chair.
Bye.
Some people have felt like they couldn't control it. They just followed her and sat down. She appears as a colorful mist, some would call an ectoplasm. And some people have said that she's red. Some people have said she's blue. I saw more people say red, but the pictures I saw online are blue. So I don't fucking know. The mist itself. It's like a blue smoke or a red smoke. One victim was a housekeeper. She died the soonest. She sat in the chair and immediately slumped over. And then,
like in the chair?
In the chair. And then within a few hours, she was dead.
Oh my God.
The creepiest one was, I guess he started as an employee and became like a friend over the years. His name's Paul. And he, for weeks leading up to his death, swore that he was seeing a blue fog following him around. And he even ended up, they had a psychic medium come through, and he was telling her that he would see Amanda everywhere, not just like in the house, going up and down the stairs or in the halls. He would see Amanda outside of the house. And actually, this answers my own question. He would literally be out doing his own thing, running errands, and from the corner of his eye, he would swear he was seeing the smoke.
So it's like following. No.
Even creepier, he said that he was seeing Amanda in the rearview mirror of his car.
I mean, that's out of some sort of like children's horror story. That's
truly
awful.
He apparently said, like, "I feel like I'm losing my mind. I can see her everywhere. I don't know what's going on." And within a few months, he died.
Oh, shit.
At some point, I think it must have been before that happened. At some point in the timeline, George invites a psychic medium to investigate the house, and her name is Judith. Okay. She immediately mentioned how many spirits were in the house as soon as she walked in. She was like, "Holy shit, that's going to be a big gig." She also saw Amanda, and she told George that the blue room was disturbing.
Disturbing is not the word you want to hear.
A separate psychic told George on another occasion to sage the room immediately.
Ooh.
That's not a good sign either. George blamed the chair's activity on Amanda. Apparently, one source said that George calls Amanda a loose cannon, and I was like,
Whoa!
that's fucking bold. That's crazy.
Hey, no, I'm not signing off on that. I'm not putting my name next to that one. I'll just
Me
say
either.
that right off the bat.
And only one source said it, but they put it in quotes of like a loose cannon, as George says. And I'm like, why would he do that?
Yo, take that off the internet. That could be dangerous if Amanda finds out.
Amanda's gonna be pissed. The second she discovers Google, you're in danger, girl.
Watch out.
So yeah, Amanda would apparently slam doors open and shut. She would move around as that mist, as I told you. One guy who worked at the mansion, he thought that the temperature was dropping because he could see smoke in front of him. And he was like, oh, like how quickly does the temperature have to drop for me to be able to like see my breath? Yeah. And this was an interview George did. George was telling the story, and he was like, oh, I had to tell him that was like ectoplasm. Like, whoops.
Oh, that's not your breath. That's Amanda.
I'm Amanda. So
I don't even know the joke.
It's okay. So when he saw the fog, George was like, oh, that's actually a ghost. But they walk back to the car, and his friend feels someone hit him, and then looks at George and is like, why'd you just hit me? And obviously George was like feet away and hadn't hit him. That night at his own house, the friend then saw the ectoplasm in his house because he thought that his house was catching on fire. He was like, why is there smoke everywhere?
Oh, shit. Yeah, that would be, the really alarming thing to see.
And apparently it was Amanda. I don't know if he died, but given the record of everyone else, I'm going to assume he didn't survive.
Or at least his house, he was, I don't know. I guess there wasn't an actual fire, but yeah, it sounds ominous.
Or maybe Amanda was just like, I see you, and then just left. I don't know.
Maybe she was just like, pass.
She's just popping in. I'll pass.
Yeah. I don't know. She's a loose cannon.
That's
not
very funny.
That.
So also my question is like, was the death chair and Amanda not a thing when they were kids? But you made a great point of maybe little Steven sat in the chair.
Well, maybe that's when it all started. Maybe he sat in it and then like after it had nothing to do with, but maybe he died. I don't know. Maybe then he got attached to it. I have no clue.
That's a good point though, because
he activated something in it. I don't know.
I was thinking like, why didn't anyone care about this before George like lived in the house by himself and all his friends started dying?
Right. I was wondering that too.
But no, you maybe you're onto something there. Well, okay, this is my favorite part. This is more about Judith, the psychic that he brought in.
Right.
The psychic says that Amanda isn't malevolent. Okay. Maybe she's just saying that like for PR.
Yeah. She's like, she needs a little bit of a spin on her reputation.
Judith is like, for my own life, you're not malevolent, girl.
Yeah.
You're just misunderstood.
I promise. Okay. I pinky promise. Would I lie to you?
Would I lie? So Judith says, oh, she's not malevolent. She's just actually appearing to help you cross over. And I'm like, okay, maybe.
In the rear view mirror, making me crash my car into a fucking pole? I don't think so. Maybe Judith, she's bad at her job. Maybe she really is trying and she just keeps fumbling it, Like maybe she's like, oh, I'm trying to help. Oops, I scared you. I don't know.
If someone could write a story or a movie script about like a clumsy guardian angel, that would be hysterical.
Damn, I did do that. When I was at Nickelodeon, I wrote like a whole pitch deck about a show called, I think it was called, oh shit, I forget the name of it. But it was about someone becoming a guardian angel and being really bad at it. And it was like my comedy pitch. That's so funny that you say that.
That's hysterical.
I gotta find that. It's somewhere. It's probably not very good, but I was really into it.
That would be.
And then my boss was so cruel about it that I just shoved it in a drawer.
Okay, well, it's time to reclaim that energy.
Beyond the content of it, she just really didn't like me. But yeah, wow, that's so funny. I was like, oh, I wrote a script one time, and then you said that, and I was like, whoa.
That's so freaky. Wow.
Mind reader.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so proud of you. I know that your boss wasn't, but that sounds like a great... If I were your boss, I'd have been like, that's genius. We're doing it now.
Thank you so much for the kindness.
So, okay, put a pin in that. We're going to put a pin in that.
I will.
So anyway, Judith was also able in her time at the house to help George find some additional antiques and artifacts that he didn't know the family had.
Oh, cool.
So one night she was driving over to the mansion and she kept hearing the name Longfellow.
Mm.
And when she got to the house, she asked George, like, what the hell does this mean? And he said, oh, that was my mom's. My mom had a favorite poem by Longfellow, and it was called Children's Hour.
Wow.
They decided to look at the bookshelf and see if they could find a Longfellow book, and they didn't find that, but they saw one book was sticking out of place, like it had like jutted itself out somehow. So he grabbed that book and opened it up, and it was a book of poetry. And when he opened the book, there was an old envelope sitting wedged in the pages, and the envelope said, "To my son Mead in the event of my death." And the page it was sitting inside of was the poem Children's Hour.
By Longfellow.
By Longfellow.
Fuck me, that's crazy.
I do have the poem, if you would like me to read it to you.
Yes, please.
It's a little long, but it's fine.
I would love to hear it.
Okay. I feel like you would like it.
Yeah.
It feels like, especially if you got this as like a message from your mom who's passed on, it's very precious.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm ready.
Between the dark and the daylight, when the night is beginning to lower, comes a pause in the day's occupations, and that is known as the children's hour. I hear in the chamber above me the patter of little feet, the sound of a door that is opened, and voices soft and sweet. From my study, I see in the lamplight, descending the broad hall stair, grave Alice and laughing Allegra and Edith with golden hair. A whisper and then a silence, yet I know by their merry eyes they are plotting and planning together to take me by surprise. A sudden rush from the stairway, a sudden raid from the hall. By 3 doors left unguarded, they enter my castle wall. They climb up into my turret, over the arms and back of my chair, and I try to escape. They surround me, they seem to be everywhere. And they almost devour me with kisses, their arms about me entwine, till I think of the Bishop of Bingen in this mouse tower on the Rhine. Do you think, oh blue-eyed banditti, because you have scaled the wall, such an old mustache as I am is not a match for you at all. I have you fast in my fortress and will not let you depart, but put you down into the dungeon in the round tower of my heart. And there will I keep you forever, yes, forever and a day, till the walls shall crumble to ruin and molder in dust away. But, like, imagine, like, your mom, especially that last one. Isn't that precious?
Well, and then, like, you think about, like, the fact that they lost one of their kids. Like, they had 2, and then they lost one. And it's just, like, that just is so, like, what a punch in the...
Your eyes watering?
Oh, I'm crying. Yeah, I'm fully crying. Sorry. I'm telling you, I went off. Okay, I've said this. I went off birth control not to have a baby, but because I wanted to figure out my PCOS. And so my hormones are just like, we're back. You know, like, you can't control us anymore. So I cry a lot, even though my Zoloft dose is still pretty high. So the tears make it through.
But that last section really did.
That was just something.
That last section really gets me of, and there I will keep you forever, yes, forever and a day, till the wall shall crumble to ruin and molder and dust away. That if my mom passed away, and then I saw that in a page that said, in the event of my death, this is for my son.
Like an intentional message. God. I mean, that's like the most, that got me.
So Judith helped him find that envelope. Aww. Also, through her work, they found a pair of his mother's favorite candlesticks that were, like, weirdly shoved in the rafters of the attic.
Weird.
They also found a desk with a secret compartment, and inside was a, quote, bullet-riddled flag that General Meade had captured at Gettysburg.
Holy shit. They were like, we can show you the cannonball, but we're not going to show you this bad boy. This one's staying locked away.
Bullet-riddled is just wild.
That's wild.
And then in an abandoned trunk...
in a secret compartment? Like, imagine being like, what is that? And you see, like, burn marks. Ooh!
Oh my god, yeah, no thank you. In an abandoned trunk that they were led to, in theory from his mother and Judith, they found papers suggesting that George was the heir to a large amount of money. And by a large amount of money, I mean cowabunga, a lot of money.
Oh.
Because the paperwork they found said that his great-great-grandfather, who I think was General Meade, I'm not sure, he loaned the country the money to buy Florida and was never paid back.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there.
So
when we need a quick loan to buy Florida.
So as the next of kin, he was literally owed Florida.
Jesus Christ.
Imagine getting paperwork that says, hey, you actually own a 50th of this country.
I literally cannot imagine that. Yeah. Especially in Florida. Like, hey, I got some things. Let's get to work, baby. I got Florida under my purview. I got some changes to make.
I feel like some people would be like, keep the money. I don't want it. Like, I'd keep it.
Yeah.
So Judith and George were then led by, again, maybe by his mother, to another old desk, and in it was a letter from his father.
Wow. Does this guy just like, I guess it's a huge house. I was like, does he not just like look for secret drawers like I do? I guess not.
I guess not. You probably stop
if you have,
it.
Like millions of dollars of antiques, you probably can't like even begin to look in every spot. So
when you've got over 30 rooms, how many drawers can you open?
Oh
you know?
my God. I know. It sounds exhausting.
What a to-do. Well, so
and it's like, oh, Florida in this one. Oh, like a priceless historical artifact in this one. Oh, I'm tired though.
Like,
no, yeah. I don't want to make fun of him. I know this is like not, but
also, how would this not motivate you? Just found out you own Florida. Imagine
I would literally take this house in every inch.
The hyperfixation I would have to look through every nook and cranny. I would
Mom,
rip up
what
the
else
carpet.
do you have to say? Like, clearly there's a lot going on. Even the nice like poem. It's like, what the fuck else is in here that they didn't tell me about?
I would literally be peeling the wood paneling off the walls or something.
Correct.
I'd be like, where is it?
Oh my God.
So he finds this letter from his father, who, by the way, was a huge skeptic. And according to George, he was raised his whole life to never believe in ghosts.
Interesting.
And now he lives in this haunted ass mansion.
I kind of love it.
He finds this letter from his dad, and the letter says, I've seen the ghosts. And also,
you coward, you wouldn't tell him till you're dead. That's fucked up.
I've seen the ghosts and don't be afraid is basically what it was. But then again, it's like, I feel like Amanda wrote that and signed a dad at the end, you know?
It's just like covered in like, it's like that chiller font and it's just ectoplasm. She
it's
like
covered in drips of ectoplasm and blood. So anyway, in 2005, George ended up dying. I don't know if he died in the mansion, but he died while living at the mansion after living there his whole life. And actually in an interview back in the 80s, because it was haunted then and he was talking about it.
Right.
He was quoted saying, when I leave here, I'm coming back to haunt the house if the next family doesn't take good care of the place.
Oh, okay. Only if.
Only if.
Because his dad might be hanging around too, right? So he could do a whole. Oh, I guess his dad's not there. His mom was there, right?
But his little brother is there because Steven's still there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
His mom is clearly lingering around if you can reach out to her.
Well, maybe she had that unfinished business, and maybe like once he found her messages, I don't know.
Yeah, I also heard that like his uncle also haunts the mansion, but I saw no like stories
he
about
just
that.
Doesn't get any like airtime.
Yeah, he's just like
Amanda took over. He's like, damn, I'm related to these people.
He's like, I'm gonna go sit over here. You guys have fun.
Fine, whatever.
So in 2012, all the antiques were sold off, and a friend of a friend ended up buying the mansion.
Okay.
Their names were Jay and Susie, and they moved in with their kids. And they only moved in after, like, they knew it was haunted. They only moved in after the mutual friend between them and George said, like, I've never had experiences there. It's probably not that haunted.
They just had to confirm it. Yeah.
Yeah. So then they moved in.
That.
And just in case, they had the house blessed also.
Smart.
And since then, Jay has said that they've heard some sounds throughout the house, but like nothing super spooktacular. Meanwhile, Susie and her friends have all seen the little boy.
Oh, and Susie and her friends.
Susie sees him in reflections. Terrifying.
Just like the boy, just like the brother did.
Oh, yeah.
The skeleton reflection.
Well, finally, we can see his actual reflection.
Whoa. I hope.
Yeah. And her friends, there was one like dinner party or something where her friends came over and they all looked into the dining room at the same time for no reason. They just all saw something from the corner of their eye and saw him walking through the dining room.
I don't like that.
But yeah, so I guess as far as we know, as of 2012, Stephen is still there. I don't know if anyone else is. But yeah, that is the Baleroy Mansion.
That is quite a tale. I was like, I've heard of this place. Yeah, it's in our book.
I did check. According to our website, where we do have an episode list, please go check that out. It doesn't say we've covered the Baleroy Mansion. So if it does...
It just sounds so familiar, but I think it's just from doing the book, I assume.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also, another place you heard it from, because I have covered it before, but do you remember way back when we did our test tour?
Our test tour?
Where we were practicing markets. It was when we did our very first show in Philadelphia back in like 2018.
Okay, that's
I covered this at
why.
our Philly live show.
Weirdly, I think I remember it from that, like vaguely. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So
sometimes on Reddit, people be like, "Where have I heard this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Where have I heard it?" So I feel like, and someone always finds out. So
So in case you're wondering, Baleroy Mansion has been covered on 437, the Philly live show in 2018, and in our first book.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. It's gotten a lot of press. Unlike that uncle. You know what I mean?
In the end.
The end. Okay. I'm going to pee.
I'm going to get a pillow for my butt because we're still doing the no cushions test to see it. And so far it's working. He hasn't come over here.
I like how you're not allowed to, you're like, I get a cushion. You don't.
I needed an FLT halfway through. I was like, I'll feel comfortable.
That is a fun little treat. A little cushion for your what? Bye.
Tushin.
Before I say bosom, I should probably go pee.
Cush for your tush. Yeah.
A cush for your tush. That's the one. All right, break.
Hello. Did you enjoy that section of the story I just interrupted? Great. I have some important news though. I just had the best nap of my life. And you want to know what? I did it on a Helix mattress. And we talk about Helix mattress all the time. I know that we're partnered with them, but truly this mattress does wonders for me. I have struggled forever with back pain, never have it anymore. In fact, I just tried to take a nap on the couch recently, which used to be my favorite spot to take a nap. Doesn't do it anymore. I woke up, I felt weird, and when I hobbled on over to my Helix mattress to finish my nap, woke up feeling great. You know who else loves the Helix mattress? My little dog Hankies. He will not sleep in his crate, his dog bed, the couch, the chair, anywhere I make a snuggly warm space for him. He just wants to be on that damn mattress. And I'll tell you, it might be because I'm there. It might be because the mattress is amazing. Maybe it's both. I don't know. You find out for yourself. Go to helixsleep.com/drink for 27% off site-wide, exclusive for listeners of And That's Why We Drink. That's helixsleep.com/drink for 27% off site-wide, exclusive for listeners of And That's Why We Drink. helixsleep.com/drink. Yoo-hoo, summer girlies, gays, and theys, to the front, please. Listen, it's summertime. It's hot out. People are barbecuing. You've got pool parties to go to. You've got concerts to go to. You've got things planned. But you know what doesn't belong in your epic summer plans? Say it with me all at once, everyone. Let's harmonize. Getting burned by your old wireless bill. And while you're planning all these beach trips and barbecues, your wireless bill should be the last thing holding you back. And that's why we made the switch to Mint Mobile. With plans starting at $15 a month, Mint Mobile gives you premium wireless service on the nation's largest 5G network, the coverage and speed you're used to, but for way less money. So while your friends are sweating over data overages and surprise charges, you'll be chillin', literally and financially. We use Mint Mobile. We've used it literally while we're on tour. It's the reason that Christine can use her script on stage. Get your summer savings and shop premium wireless plans at mintmobile.com/ATWWD. That's mintmobile.com/ATWWD. Upfront payment for $45 for a 3-month 5GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. Okay, cush for my tush. Yeah, that's better. Okay.
What's your shirt? Oh, Fredericksburg?
Fredericksburg, Texas.
Wait, that's cool. I didn't know that existed. Did you go there just to like see it?
Yeah.
That's funny.
And it's an oversized.
Where did they have the shirt? Like, where did you buy the shirt?
It was like you know what's so sad is that I've always been such a proud Fredericksburg Virginian.
Yeah.
And I've always known there's a Fredericksburg, Texas, because if you go on like Google Maps or whatever, it'll always say.
Oh, yeah. So you learn where your other city is. Yeah.
There's one in Iowa, I think, but it's really small. But Virginia and Texas are the two big. There's another
Cincinnati in Iowa, I think.
Oh, cool. Well,
it's not cool. It's really lame. Well, the real one.
I always thought surely the Virginia one's the best one because that's where I'm from. But then I went to the Texas one and I was like, wow, they really like are very killing it with the merch.
Really?
Yeah, Fredericksburg, Virginia, you can't find any fucking merch. There's like maybe a shirt.
So where do they sell? Like, did they have merch stores or was it
like they had like a
CVS?
No, they had like in Texas there was like a main street full of souvenir shops. Like they were very proudly.
What? Who knew?
I was there and I kept buying everything that said Fredericksburg, and I was like, if anyone asks, it's,
Yeah, wow, that's so random.
But I love this one for like the irony of it all, and especially given today, it's like,
I mean, it's excellent.
America!
The Shrieking Eagle is so good. We just went to Buc-ee's in Kentucky, the Kentucky Buc-ee's.
It's very Buc-ee's.
I bought Leona a shirt that looks like that, and it has like Buc-ee's summer tour, and then on the back it has like it's like rock and roll, and it's that faded color, and then on the back it has all the cities that Buc-ee's is in, and it has like Kentucky on it.
You should check that shirt because that might have been made this year. Virginia got its very first Buc-ee's.
No way. Okay,
so I wonder
we just
if
went like 2 days ago, so it's probably on there.
Yeah, I wonder if you see
it.
If you see it, let me know.
That's but it looks like that shirt. It has like it has like lightning bolts, and it's like rock and roll. Cool. It's really cute.
So cool.
There was like a pink one with butterflies, and Sherry was like, "No, Christine, no." And I was like, "Okay, here's the rock and roll one." She's like, "That's it. Pick that one."
You got a good mom-in-law.
She's right.
Also, I think I found the exact treat that makes him a little sleepy for our recordings.
He's just like.
I tried a new one. I tried a new. Because the one I was giving him, like, it calms him down. This one I think maybe makes him a little sleepy. But it's called Dad Grass, and it's like CBD buns for dogs.
Oh.
And it's
Dad Grass. Okay.
And it was like this big, and you have to do it by like their weight. And so I only gave him half because I don't want to like do it. I thought it was just gonna like kind of make him zen. Half was enough. Damn. Like he took half.
High as a kite or what?
No, he's just taking a little nap, but he's not getting up at all. Like he seems chill, but he's like alert. Like as I look at him, he'll look over at me, but then he's like, if you don't need me, I'm gonna keep sleeping.
I'm just chilling. The other day I took a weed gummy and took a nap, and it was literally the most exquisite. You know how I love my coffee naps where I'll like drink coffee, fall asleep. It's only in the morning when I can nap. It's like I fall back asleep, and then I wake up and I'm like, the coffee's in my veins already, you know? And that's like kind of how I feel about the weed thing. It's like I wake up and I'm like, cool dreams I just had. Like, let's get a snack, you know? It's like the weirdest. I love it. I highly recommend if you have a day off, preferably.
Well, I'll tell Hank. He's
gonna be expecting some munchies later.
I'm telling you, that really worked. He just heard me say his name, and then he got off the chair, and I was like, oh shit, he's finally coming over here. He just put himself to bed.
You're like testing the waters there.
I know. Well, anyway, so Dad Grass is if you want to sponsor us.
I mean, listen,
woof woof.
I'm into it.
Okay, sorry. Now you've got a story, and I'm sure it's going to, 1, rock me, and 2, absolutely devastate me. Am I right? Am I on the right track?
How did you know that?
Like 430 psychic? Of these, you kind of get a feeling for it.
Really? Because it surprises me every week. I'm like, this I'm covering? No.
I keep waiting for you to like do like maybe something like silly crimes or like.
That's for Live, Laugh, Larceny and all the other shows that are actually, you know.
All right.
This show, I feel like I committed to some episode 18 or 19. I was doing Sylvia Likens. I think it was like too late. You know, we've committed.
Just know if you ever feel like doing I don't know. If you ever feel like doing something, because you only committed to crime stories. You never defined what type of crime. Just saying.
I did say true crime. So yeah, I guess.
No pressure.
I'm just saying
if you ever get really sad, you are welcome to take a silly one.
Thank you so much. Good thing I'm really happy.
Until then, would you mind just rocking my shit, please?
I'm so glad you asked. I did warn Em a little bit. I said this is like a doozy of a case because this is one that I have heard about for years. It's the Delphi Murders. And
I've heard about that.
Yeah, I feel like I was gonna ask if you'd heard of it because it's one of those that I've heard about and knew woefully little about until researching this. So unfortunately, there's just this much drama surrounding this case. This is a 2-parter. It was not going to be a 2-parter. But as Saoirse was gathering all the trial stuff and everything, they were like, oh God, I didn't realize like how much there was out there and how much drama and red herrings and all sorts of stuff. So it's a 2-parter. I know I fucked up the last 2-parter and I apologize profusely. I am assuring you that this time I will be much more responsible about making sure I'm doing the correct notes next week. So
I trust
you. Hold me to it. Hold me to it. Thank you.
I have full faith.
Thank you. All right, so it's the year 2017, and I want to also add, I know that we don't necessarily know when to do like trigger warnings. This is about two teenage girls. So if if that's something, just to give everybody a heads up about what the topic is. So it's 2017. We've got 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German, and their nicknames are Abby and Libby, and they are BFFs. Best friends. They're 8th graders at Delphi Community Middle School in Delphi, Indiana, and they are inseparable. Mm-hmm. I'm going to send you a picture of the two of them just to give you an idea.
Just to twist the knife early?
Yeah, just to make you feel even shittier. Okay.
And their names were what again?
So their names are Abby and Libby.
Abby and Libby. Oh, come on, Christine.
I know. It's just horrid.
God, they're such little cutie pies.
They're such babies. Every photo I look at, I'm like, they're just cuter. In each picture, they're just like, oh, they're just it. Anyway, they were inseparable. They were known as being kind of cheerful, outgoing, kind, spunky. They had like a very like soul friend kind of relationship, in that way that like little kids do. And Abby herself, she's the one on the right. So with the hat on, she's 13 years old. She was curious, inquisitive, deeply interested in nature and being in the outdoors. She had what they called a little bug box. Do you remember these? Do you remember the bug box?
Like the plastic. Yeah. Like it looked like a cabin with screen doors
and it
screen
had,
wall.
Well, it's like a little box.
I think I'm thinking of a butterfly box.
I knew what you're talking about. Yeah, those are cool too. She had like the little box that you put, say, like how about a ParaPod? You put a ParaPod in there, and then you get like a little magnifying glass on the top, and you can look at it, and then let it free.
Yes,
and so she would
totally
collect like lightning bugs or worms or whatever. And my brother had one of those, and we would get little stink bugs and like look at them in the little magnifying glass. And so that was the kind of kid she was. She loved being outdoors, hiking, swimming, riding ATVs, camping, and she was also an athlete and musician, which Libby was as well. So both girls played on the school volleyball team. They were both in the band together. Abby, on the right, played the saxophone and was teaching herself the piano and was actually learning the theme of Beauty and the Beast at this time.
God.
Fun fact. Which her grandparents said, and it was like, cool, great, awesome. That's makes this all more real and terrible. Both girls, in addition to all these other things, were also talented artists. Abby loved to draw and take photographs, and meanwhile, Libby liked to paint. And she did have a knack for it as someone who's really has just butchered this room as far as like painting goes. So Libby lived with her grandparents. Her mom actually lived in Kentucky, about 200 miles away. She lived with her grandparents, and she wanted to paint her room purple. And her grandma was like, oh, we don't have time, like someday. And she goes, Grandma, just let me do it. And her grandma was like, okay. And I'm not kidding you, they zoomed in on the trim. And I'm like, if you zoomed in on the trim of any room in my house, you'd be like, that's disgusting, Christine. You can never touch a paintbrush again. You've made the biggest godly mess. Like, I don't know how, but this child was like talented at painting an actual room. And I was very impressed.
Very good.
Very meticulous. Probably a lot of people are like, that's really not that hard. But to me,
to me it is.
Okay,
yeah,
good,
it's hard to read.
And so she did it herself, and she had actually, unfortunately, just finished painting it and was just so proud of it right before these terrible events took place. So she was a dedicated student as well. Now, I'm curious if you know what this is. Have you heard of the academic team?
Like a decathlon?
Is that the same? What is that?
Isn't that like an academic?
Oh, maybe? No, wait.
Like mathletes?
Yeah. Okay. So Saoirse was like, I don't know what this is. It looks like some sort of like spelling bee adjacent thing. And I'm like, you guys don't have an academic bowl? Like I texted my brother about it, and he was on, it was called academic team, and they called it A team. It was so embarrassing. And they would like go, it's like quiz bowl. Like you go and answer questions and compete. That's like cool. It's like my brother's dream, you know.
Also, I just learned that decathlon is for track and field. Whoops, never mind.
Okay, I was like, I thought that was physical activity. That's why I don't know much about it. Decathlon.
No, apparently I don't fucking know about this academy world or whatever you're saying.
No. So it's like quiz bowl. I don't know what people call it. It's
I
like,
get it.
Yeah, it's like you go and do team sport. They called it A-team at my school. I made fun of my brother so much for it. I don't really need to do it again, but you get the idea.
Sure.
But so they're really, smart and active and social kids. And as much as they enjoyed school, Abby and Libby, of course, also loved their weekends because they spent the weekends together just exploring. The weekend of February 10th, 2017 was especially exciting because there was no school on Monday. So we are talking long weekend. Abby and Libby had a sleepover on Sunday night, and they excitedly planned a hike for Monday morning. Their destination was a stretch of the Delphi Historic Trails near Monon High Bridge. The bridge today is part of the Monon High Bridge Trail, and the bridge, which is this historic bridge, I'll tell you the history of it in a moment, but nowadays it's been stabilized, it's been repaired, there's new decking, there are like steel safety rails on it, and it's even ADA compliant. But in 2017, this was like completely a different story. This bridge had been built in 1891 as a railway crossing over Deer Creek. But by 2017, it was 126 years old. And it's this like rickety wooden bridge. And the rotted wood led to these holes 70 feet down into the creek. I mean, it's like this treacherous wooden...
Feels like Survivor.
Ramshackle bridge. Yeah, like you'd expect to be wearing like a harness on this thing because it looks like you're going to fall into the creek. Okay. And it's pretty dangerous, and the public was not permitted to go on there, but of course teenagers would go and like climb it and walk across it. One of the pillars that supported the bridge had been badly damaged, so the entire structure was at risk of falling. Like, that's how dangerous this thing was.
Jesus. Okay, so this thing's like holding on by a thread.
Yes. And considering it was so dangerous, of course, crossing it was dangerous. And then on top of that, when you reach the other side, there's actually no path. You have to go back. Like, if you don't know that there's no path at the end, you're basically hitting a dead end.
You're SOL. Yeah.
Yes.
Because you're like, okay, now do it again.
The other way. Exactly.
Oof.
And so that's this kind of like really spooky spot. Of course, all of these things, as Saoirse put, made it a popular hangout spot for teenagers.
I mean, I would have done the same thing.
Right? Like, I probably would not have walked on it, but I would have like...
I would have sat while others did.
Yeah. And I don't know. It just gives me so much anxiety. And so it's easy to access because you're just on a hiking trail. You just kind of divert, you cut through, and you're at the bridge. Libby especially loved to cross the bridge. She's a very adventurous girl. She's basically afraid of nothing, except her sister said needles and things that cause pain, which like broke my heart. Her older sister, Kelsey, is the one who gives a few interviews to kind of explain this whole bridge situation. Kelsey herself, the older sister, did not like crossing the bridge. The first time she tried, she was so scared that she crawled across it. But Libby was like, I got it, and walked across. She was just fearless. Abby's mother would never have allowed Abby to go on the bridge if she'd asked. But of course, they didn't really specify where they were going. They just said they were going hiking,
Sure,
and
yeah.
out to the woods to explore. So, kids will be kids. Abby and Libby especially like to go out and find places to do photo shoots together. And Becky, who's the grandmother of Libby, thought this was a pretty healthy and happy way for kids to spend their time. So she was perfectly happy with them going out there and playing in the woods. And Delphi, the town itself, is pretty small. It has a population of just under 3,000 people and is pretty close-knit. But in 2017, there really wasn't much to do. So think like, what are they called? Third places? Yeah, it's like there wasn't anything to do with this damn bridge, It was
just a spot for people to chill.
Yeah. And Monday morning, they're off school. They had this sleepover the night before. February 13th, they're doing something a little daring. Libby asked her sister, Kelsey, her older sister, if she wanted to go hiking with Abby and her. Normally, Kelsey would have said sure, but she had work that day and she wanted to see her boyfriend before work. So she said, hey, why don't I drop you two off at the woods for your hike, and then later on you'll just meet at the trailhead and our dad will come pick you up. Their dad being this guy named Derek.
Okay.
It was a cold February day, but it was sunny, and they dropped Abby and Libby off, and Kelsey made sure they both had layers like sweatshirts because she knew it was chilly out, and said goodbye and said, "I love you," and then drove away. The girls started on the trail and then diverted to the bridge as planned. Now, how do we know that? Because they were taking pictures on Snapchat.
Oh, okay.
This is what happens in modern day true crime. It's really interesting how like the trends change, you know, it's like, it's not even I guess say 8 years ago, but to think like, 20 years ago, it would be like the digital camera, you know, they plugged it in. Now it's like, Snapchat. And the thing is, of course, we know that Snapchats disappear, but a friend had screenshotted them.
Oh, okay.
Thank God for that, because that's kind of how we knew. So this story is just bonkers. Okay. So friends caught these moments of their hike. Abby and Libby are posting happy photos of their adventure. And like I said, their friend Erica took a screenshot to save a photo Libby posted. And I'm going to send you this picture. It shows Abby walking across the bridge. And it's pretty chilling because it really is like that day, you know, in real time.
Yeah. Oh, that. At the same time, though, if I saw this and I was their age, absolutely I'm walking across it. Like, I totally see.
It's so cool.
For the Instagram pic or whatever. I mean, this picture right here, like, I could totally see why you would want that posted on Snapchat. It looks really cool. Yeah,
no, like, I would screenshot that too to be like, damn. Yeah.
Yeah. I could see, like, seniors, like, having their, like, graduation pics on there or something. Yeah, it's very pretty. The view's very nice.
It is beautiful. And, like, the old wood.
It is very eerie, though, that this happened the day of.
And so a friend, Erica, screenshotted this and was able to turn this in later. Derek was running a little late picking the girls up, so he called Libby to let her know, but she didn't answer. He arrived at the trailhead, he waited, but Abby and Libby weren't there. And he was getting a little nervous because it was not like them to be late. And of course, he's calling Libby multiple times, but she's not answering. So it's possible that she had no service in the woods. It's also possible they were lost because apparently Abby's mom, Anna Williams, said that neither girl had a good sense of direction. And if they had gotten turned around and didn't have service, then they may be lost in the woods.
Yeah. Wow.
Kelsey, Libby's older sister, got a call that the girls hadn't returned to the trailhead. And so she was like, they probably got lost. She assumed the same thing. So she drove to the park, she hiked to the bridge, but when she crossed it and looked around in that kind of dead-end area, there was no sign of Abby or Libby in the woods on the other side. And that's when she started to worry. I was thinking about this too. Like, imagine Kelsey said that she was so terrified she had to crawl across it the first time she did it. And now she's looking for her little sister and crossing this bridge to find her, and she doesn't find her, and now she has to go back. I mean, it's just like my stomach.
You're totally right.
When I think about it.
Like the desperation, like willing to do it, but being so scared. Yeah.
Yeah. And just hoping or not hoping. Like, because, we'll get into it. Okay, so Becky, Libby and Kelsey's grandma, was worried too. She drove around the area looking for the girls, of course, just trying to call them and find them. And when that doesn't work, smart move, smart grandma, called their cell phone carrier to see if she could ping their location, which I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, that girl watches Criminal Minds.
I know, watches Dateline. Yeah. I know. I was very impressed. I was like, I would not have even thought of that. But she decided that, as it started to get dark, that they should call the police. Remember, this is February in Indiana,
Oh, my God.
So the girls were reported missing at 5:30 p.m., and this was about 45 minutes before sunset. So we're, like, closing in on the dark.
Yeah, and obviously something's wrong now. Like, it's not even a question at this point.
Police are like, they're probably lost. And everyone's like, yeah, you're right. They're probably lost. There's a little edge of, like, anxiety. But after a quick search that they did failed to locate the girls, that's when the police said we don't see them anywhere. That's when, like, the full panic kind of took over because this isn't normal.
Okay.
So officers began canvassing door to door, asking if anyone had seen the girls. And a lot of people who answered the door and heard about this, whether they knew the girls or not, joined the search party. So people were grabbing flashlights and coming out to the woods to help look. The sheriff believed that the girls probably were not in any immediate danger, but they don't have coats. And so no matter what, once the temperatures drop, they're in danger in that way. So everyone's going to the woods with their flashlights. Abby's mom, Anna, is still like hoping against hope that the girls had just hiked too far and got stuck somewhere. But apparently Libby's grandma, Becky, told her how afraid Libby was of the dark. And that's sort of when Anna said she knew
something was bad.
Yeah. Because she was like, okay, that means they would have tried to find their way back. Like, they're not just out there playing or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know if this is important either, but like, don't they have school the next day and they're like good kids? Like, I feel like they would.
That's true too. That's true too. Yeah. Yep, exactly. Libby would never have stayed in the woods past sundown unless there was like no other option and she were very lost. So at this point, like you said, they're basically looking at either they're lost, which is big trouble, or something else happened, which is, of course, big trouble. Libby and Kelsey, like I said, lived with their grandparents. Their mom lived in Kentucky about 200 miles away. So Kelsey called her mom and said, hey, have you seen Libby? And her mom, Carrie, almost laughed like, of course not. You know, because she's 200 miles away. She's like, why would I have seen Libby? And she goes, she's missing. And of course, the most horrific thing you can hear as a parent. So she gets to work planning to come down to join the search. The search continued in the dark. Volunteers trudged over 8 miles through Deer Creek. One of the theories was that the girls had fallen off of the bridge, which made some sense, right? With this like rotted wood and it's off limits to the public.
Mm-hmm.
But they looked and looked and they couldn't find evidence of them anywhere in the creek or downstream. Becky said that so much of the town was out looking for the girls that the lights in the woods, there were as many as stars in the sky. She said it looked like the night sky was in the woods around them with all the flashlights. But hours passed, the temperature dropped, and authorities had to make the decision to relieve the volunteer teams because some of them, for example, were firefighters who had to get to work that morning and they couldn't compromise, you know, their safety. And it was a tough decision. The girls' families begged the authorities not to give up. They had to make that call, but many volunteers still stayed to keep going all through the night. Now, sometime after 2 a.m., the police received information that one of the girls' phones pinged a nearby cell tower. They searched the area, but they couldn't find anything. The next morning, the search began again in full force, and the authorities set up a command post to organize the efforts. They brought dive teams, they brought canine units. Professionals were there, volunteers were there. They were scouring Deer Creek, its banks. They searched trails, ditches, ravines. They searched fallen trees. They searched inside trash cans. They looked everywhere for the phone, for the girls. Kelsey, the older sister, didn't know what to expect, but it's just like almost, it's like that, how do you explain it? I hate to say dichotomy again, but it's that weird paradox of like feeling that she goes, I knew she would be in huge trouble. I just kept thinking she's going to be in such big trouble, you know?
It's so sad.
And she's like, even though I knew she was in danger on some level, part of me was like, oh my God, she's going to get in so much trouble because you're still a kid and you're looking at life as a kid.
And I could see it being like, oh, look at, if you're thinking that when they come home, they're going to be yelled at because look at all the people that had to come out and like spend all the,
That's how her mind was thinking. Yeah. Pat Brown was a Delphi resident who actually had known Libby's grandfather, Mike, since high school. And when his wife saw a post by Libby's grandma, Becky, on Facebook about the missing girls, he called his friend Mike and said, hey, what's going on with your granddaughters? And Mike said, they haven't been found. So this guy, Pat Brown, joins the search. He searches that night, no luck. He calls off work the next morning to search again. He had to leave before lunchtime to pick his daughter up from school because she was feeling sick. So he stopped for a quick bite to eat. As Pat is eating lunch, his friend calls and says searchers had found clothes near the bridge and they needed help searching the area. Someone had discovered a tie-dye shirt in the water and a nearby black Nike shoe, and older sister Kelsey had to confirm that, yes, they did belong to her little sister, Libby.
Oh my God. Like, why is her shirt off? What's going on?
Horrible. Pat returned to the search site and looked specifically in that area. And this was like, they showed it in a documentary I watched on Discovery Plus. There's this like embankment sort of, and it's really hard to kind of see through all the foliage and the trees and the leaves. And he zoomed in on his cell phone to look closer, almost like binoculars. Like he zoomed in and he saw what he thought were mannequins.
Oh no.
In the brush. And of course, quickly realizing that's not what it was. He had to stand 5 feet away from them while he waited for police to respond. And he said he had to face away because it was impossible, he said, to process what he was seeing. Just really disturbing. Kelsey recalled in an interview that when she heard that her sister and Abby had been found, she wanted to run across the creek, even though she had heard that they had died. She was like, well, that's impossible, you know?
Yeah, you can't process that,
How
yeah.
would you even understand that? And so she tried to get to them, but one of the searchers present was a woman who had lost her own brother in high school, and she grabbed Kelsey and just held her for a long, long time to get her through this moment, and that was just a really touching part of the story. Grandma Becky was also there to participate in the search, and someone ran to her and said, they found them. Ugh. And this makes me sick also. When she heard they'd found her granddaughter, she said, you need to take me to Libby, to the police. And they said, no, we can't. And she couldn't understand why they wouldn't bring her to them. And that's when she saw a coroner's truck pull up. And that's the moment it kind of hit her, like, oh, shit, they've gone.
Yeah, when you say they found her, it's like, obviously,
them.
Great, I can't wait to go talk to her.
The number of people who said they found them and their immediate reaction was, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
You know.
Weren't specific enough, yeah.
Libby's mom, Carrie, heard the news. She was on her way from Kentucky to join the search party. She got a call from her ex-husband, Libby's father, Derek, and he told her they found the girls, and she said she had a split-second moment of, oh, thank God, but then she just heard silence on the other end of the line, and she knew. News quickly spread, and some people thought, okay, maybe they did fall off the bridge, and that's what happened. But the people who had seen the bodies and been on the scene, it was immediately clear to them that Libby and Abby had been violently murdered. The authorities held a press conference that day during which they confirmed discovery of the two bodies and that there was foul play involved. But at the time, they didn't identify the girls specifically. It wasn't until the next day, when autopsies were performed on both girls, that the police publicly confirmed that the bodies were indeed those of Abby Williams and Libby German, and the case was being investigated as a double homicide. And, like, this blew up the town. I mean, think about finding out two little girls in your town brutally murdered on their day off from school. I mean, it's just unthinkable.
Especially after already the big hullabaloo of so many people going out to look for. I mean, it's like, it's, of course, townwide.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody already knows about the case, and now it's just the worst possible news. So this was considered a very secure and small and safe community. The Indiana State Police immediately jumped in. They released a photo of a man walking on the trail at the time Abby and Libby disappeared. And they said, look out for this man. He is a person of interest. I'm going to send you the photo.
Okay. So blurry. Is it meant to be blurry? Okay.
Well, it's just a blurry picture of a guy. And
and you can't really see anything about him. He's just
hard
a dude
to see. What you can gather is that he appears to be a Caucasian male wearing blue jeans, a dark blue jacket, brown shirt tails coming out. His hands are in his pockets. His head is ducked downward. He's looking like down away from the camera, and it's blurry, so it's hard to kind of identify him beyond that. But the police refuse to say where the picture came from. You know, people are asking, like, okay, what's the source of the picture? And they won't say, which is a little bit odd.
Certainly.
But people just assume this is like a trail camera, like maybe somebody's personal trail camera, and they just don't want to give away the name of who it is.
Sure. And it does, I mean, he's on the bridge, right? It looks like the bridge.
Yeah, he's on the trail or the bridge. It's kind of, they're really similar. So, February 16th, 3 days since the girls were killed, a tip line was established and calls began to pour in. Not only were people seeking justice for Abby and Libby, of course, but they also now knew this violent child murderer was in their small area. And so people are trying to get to the bottom of this. On Saturday, February 18th, a public viewing service was held in the gym at Delphi Community High School. And one woman, like being kind of a citizen sleuth, which apparently became kind of a problem for the investigation. A lot of people were muddying the water, so to speak.
Okay.
This one person took photos of the crowd, suspecting that the murderer might make an appearance, like revisit or come to the funeral or the viewing. And so she thought, like, maybe she'll catch their suspicious behavior and intentions or whatever. What happened is she shared the photos with a few people, and somebody posted them to Facebook without her knowledge. And unfortunately, when you zoom in on some of the photos, you can see Libby in her casket in the background.
Oh my God.
I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And so this just came off as this tremendous violation. This went public. There was public outrage about the photos being posted, even taken in the first place. There were feuds among investigative content creators on YouTube, Facebook. Like, people were arguing over the rights of, posting and trying to get to the bottom of a mystery, citizen detective, that kind of thing. It became such an intense discourse that it basically left Abby and Libby behind in the conversation, right? Like, it almost took away from their story.
What the point of all this
Their whole
is.
point. Yeah. Details about how exactly Libby and Abby had been killed had not been released, so people started speculating wildly, like this case is just going off the rails in the media. People were saying, "Oh, they were human trafficked. They were pregnant. They were part of a taken by a drug cartel." Just stuff that had no basis. Some people who even knew the girls were claiming online that they had like gruesome information to share. I mean, people were just being disgusting. The girls' families fought to maintain their privacy, but they still had to be in the public eye enough to keep the case going. So it's that weird line you have to walk of like wanting people to help, but like not too much, not that way. Like, maybe be respectful about it.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, the police had named the man in the photo an official suspect in the case, and they revealed where the photo had come from.
Okay.
It had come from Libby's phone.
Why wouldn't they tell people that?
Well, they didn't want people to know they'd found her phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that was a huge shock because people were like, wait, do you know what that means? She took a photo of her potential killer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
ding, ding, ding.
Wow. She had bravely recorded a video of this person on her phone before she was killed. Police had discovered the video when they recovered her phone in the woods, and the image that you see was actually a still taken from a video. And
that's why it's so blurry. Okay.
Yes, and the video itself, and it was also 2017, and I don't know what kind of phone she had, but there was also, in other words, audio then, because she had been filming, and she presumably put the phone in her pocket and kept it recording. She's a genius, like, for being 14
for her.
And in the biggest fear of your life, like survival mode, and you think to record the person who's a threat. I mean, it's just amazing.
You didn't hear the audio, did you?
You're about to hear it, my friend. Well, not all of it, just a little.
Oh my God.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
The audio on the phone revealed the man's voice. He spoke in the video, and the police released a very short audio clip. It was difficult to understand at first, but they stabilized the video. They kind of worked on the audio, enhance, from like Criminal Minds. And they believed they finally figured out what he was saying. So I'm going to send you this YouTube link. Hold on.
Okay.
You know what it sounds like? I mean, it literally sounds like something out of a spirit box. Like, it sounds like it's like that through the like static, like you're trying to understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
So if you open this and you go to I know it's silly, but time code 2 seconds in.
Okay.
If you're able to do that.
Sure. Oh shit, I couldn't even hear anything on that first word. Hang on now. Let me try again.
Can you understand it?
I think I heard. Let me try let me play it a third time. Hang on. I hear like downhill guys.
He's saying down the hill.
Okay.
And so this is what they released, and everyone's trying to figure out what in the heck is going on. They have this picture of this guy, and they hear down the hill, and everyone's kind of unclear on what the context is, but they're suspecting that he was directing Abby and Libby down the hill to where he would eventually kill them. The public was urged to look at this man, listen to the recording, and surely somebody would be able to recognize this guy, even from such a short clip. He became known as Bridge Guy because they didn't know who he was, and the case became the Delphi Murders. Days later, a $41,000 reward was offered for information leading to an arrest, and then tips just over the weeks began flowing in by thousands. The man on the bridge, like we said, is so, like, it's just vague, He could be kind of any white dude in Indiana. It's hard to see.
Yeah.
The outfit, stature, and voice are so average that like people were throwing in tips, but they just didn't match anybody, or they didn't actually add up to anything.
Yeah.
People were making so many tips about random people and neighbors and coworkers and relatives that the sheriff himself got got like put on the list 3 different times. He's like, I
Oh,
think somebody
really?
was pissed off at me and just kept calling in the tip that I did it. Like
Jeez.
people were like just calling in people. They were like, that guy looks like some white guy I know, you know, and
Yeah.
it's just impossible to tell his age. It's just like really difficult to determine who it is. So Libby's grandpa kept the audio recording of Bridge Guy on his phone, and he listened to it over and over again. It was like torture because he wanted to figure out who it was, but like you listen to it and you're like, maybe I could figure out who it is, but it's 3 words and you're trying to figure it out and look at the picture and it's too blurry.
Yeah.
It just sounds maddening, honestly. In March, investigators homed in on 77-year-old Ron Logan, who actually owned the property where the 2 girls were discovered. Investigators realized that he had lied about his alibi on the day of their murders, and he was investigated very closely. A woman who had dated him for 6 years actually spoke to the FBI and said he was physically violent and that she believed he was capable of murder. So they really thought they had their guy. But despite his violent history and lying about his whereabouts, there was nothing to link him to these murders. And he did actually go to prison, but for unrelated charges. So
okay.
There's that. Then months just passed with no new information. The reward for information leading to an arrest grew past $200,000. In July, 6 months after Abby and Libby were killed, the police held a press conference and released a sketch of the killer. And this was huge, especially for the family, because they finally had a face to put out there and to look for out in public. And I'm going to send you a picture of this first sketch.
Sure. Okay. I feel bad I'm not commentating more. But
no, I know. And I feel like I set it up by saying I have such a long story and kind of, I don't want to make it seem like you're not
That's what they would sketch him as? That's not what I thought was going to come out.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Oakley dokley.
Oakley dokley. So they are looking at this picture. It's this kind of, how would you describe this guy? He looks like he's like, has a bindle and like.
Yeah, he's got like a British cap on.
Gruffy with a news cap or whatever.
He's got the facial hair I just can't fucking stand. Where it's like,
yeah.
It's like, it's a circle around your chin.
It looks like you just like went apple bobbing.
Yeah. It looks like you just like shoved your face into some cake and now like the frosting's just like.
Exactly.
Like if you're going to have a beard, commit.
You know what?
Come on
I
now.
think I actually so agree with you. I never thought about it, but I also don't like that circle. It looks.
I can't stand it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. What are you trying to prove? What's happening?
What are you trying to prove? That you went apple bobbing? Fucking brag.
I don't know. But also, you know what's so weird? Not to put anyone on blast here, but from the blurry picture you showed me, it looks like Allison's brother.
Let me see. Oh yeah, I could see that.
I would think that more.
It
so
looks
I think
like any white dude. You know what I mean? It's like you'd be like, I guess I'll just like point at this guy and point at that guy to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
This is not what I was picturing.
Yeah. Okay, great. So they get this picture, and of course the family is like, okay, we're going to take this and run with it. The sketch went far and wide. Delphi locals and strangers were comparing it to everybody they knew, you know, like listening to the voice, looking at the picture. Mike said in an interview that they mailed copies to every sheriff's office in the United States. Like they wanted this picture plastered everywhere. But of course, it like could match a whole number of people. And so none of the tips led anywhere. Becky, Libby's grandma, became obsessed with the sketch. She said she would just stare at people out and about in public, trying to determine whether she was looking at her granddaughter's killer. And it's like, of course.
I would,
like, social norms go out the window if you're in this kind of a situation, you know?
No, and I wonder if everyone in town was like, I get it. You can stare at me a little bit if you want.
I hope so. I hope there's a little grace there because, oof, I cannot even imagine. So no tips led to any concrete leads, and 2 years passed. Fast forward to April 2019. Investigators hold another press conference, and this time they release more footage from Libby's phone. It's a short clip of Bridge Guy walking.
Ooh, okay.
Hoping that someone might recognize his mannerisms. And it's hard to tell, too, because he's walking on this like rotted bridge, so it's like he might be stepping differently. But they released, I mean, it really is like 2 seconds of video footage of him walking, and basically said it's probably not even worth sending you, frankly, because it really is that image you saw, but just like 2 steps.
Sure.
So they released that and said, hey, if you recognize the way this man walks, his gait, the way his hands are in his pockets, maybe the shirt tails out, like anything about this guy, his hat, like please call
his dumbass hat, please.
His dumbass hat. So investigators also shocked the families, the girls' families, and honestly everyone at this press conference by, you know, those, I forget, they said the name of it. It's like an easel, but they have like a cover over it that they pull off.
Oh, okay.
Sort of like the King Charles when he pulled that thing off and it became that green screen meme. So they have one of those like easel poster boards and it's covered. Okay. And so everyone in the audience is like, oh my God, what could be under that board? You know, like the families don't even know. And so they're sitting there like kind of on the edge of their seat and they pull this cover off and it's a new sketch.
Okay.
And they say, okay, basically like, forget the last sketch. This is the real sketch.
They got rid of his little Newsies Oi Mista cap.
They sure did.
Yeah, now he's got Corey Matthews hair.
He literally looks like Corey Matthews. You're 100% right.
The top of his forehead and up is just like not having a good day with these sketches. He looks, I don't mean this like in a compliment way, but the sketch is like the artist's attempt. It looks like almost like a statue.
The second one?
Yeah, it looks a little like I feel like the first one, even though it's not what I expected, there was at least a lot of detail where it looked like someone I might walk past, but this person seems like really vague and like a lot of like
I think the second one looks more like a like a police sketch. I feel like the first one looks more like
art.
Like a portrait of somebody, you know? Which I mean, I'm sure different artists have style, like different sketch artists have styles, but
let's also talk about how they are completely different fucking people. Like
okay, so there's that.
The first one's like a 50-year-old man, and this one's like in his 20s. Sorry,
nailed it. That's exactly. The immediate uproar was, "What the fuck? We've sent that first picture to every sheriff's office in the country."
Yeah, and I'd be like, you clearly sent me the wrong picture.
Like 2 years later, you're like, just kidding, it's this guy. And so at first they're pissed off. They're like, they feel really defeated. Basically, they're like, damn it, like it feels sort of like we got blindsided by this and we've gone Becky called it a punch in the gut. Basically, she said we've done so much work getting this one, publicizing this one picture on the news everywhere.
Also, sorry to the man that guy fucking was. Like that poor man, if he exists.
Well, hold on.
Oh,
so despite what felt like a tremendous setback, more tips started flowing in, right? Because it's a new picture and more people are now taking different interests. Different people are looking at it. And although they were upset at first, Becky and Mike, Libby's grandparents, eventually noticed that even though they looked a bit different, if you stack the photos on top of each other, they actually look remarkably alike.
No, they do not.
Yes,
really?
They do. Hold on. Let me find a picture because I should have taken a.
It's in the eyes.
I tried to take a screenshot and then it was like, you can't do this because this is Discovery Plus, and I was like, sorry.
The eyes are way too different. They look like completely different people separately. Oh, what? What is going on? I feel like
I don't know.
This feels like that man and the spirals.
The what?
Okay, never mind. I don't even know what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah,
that guy one. From our class in 5th grade.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everyone else got it too, whatever.
Yeah, I promise they did, yeah. No, apparently, like, I did watch them layer them, because I went, that's a totally different guy. And it does look like a totally different guy. But if you do layer them, like you said, the eyes are almost identical.
Which is wild, because separately they look...
But look at their mouths.
So different. Yeah, I could see it in the nose. I guess.
And then the kind of, if you take the head or the hat off, it's like the face shape is even. If you take
we have to put the newsy hat back on him for me to really see it, and like give him that stupid circle beard.
Yeah,
he just looks too different because like they didn't style him at all in the next picture.
No, it's a totally different style of picture. Yeah, the whole thing's a little bit convoluted, and so they were trying to figure out like maybe this is just like somebody got mixed up and it's the same person. Essentially, the sketch, again, was vague enough to match many people, and police said they were looking for a suspect. This is going to basically check off exactly what you were saying. Anywhere between the ages of 18 and 40.
Like, he's
So
it's night and day. This is not the same person. Like, who... Did the first person get fired? Like, what happened?
They basically said the killer could have been as young as 16 at the time of the murders, or like in his 40s. So it's like the disparity is outrageous, because it's like, how do you even tell?
I also do call bullshit on that, because in the picture or the video of him, that's not a 16-year-old man. That guy's a dad bod.
Let me look.
He's like he looks like he's in his 30s. 30s or 40s. 30s.
No, he's old. Yeah, he's older.
He looks like a dad. He's literally wearing a windbreaker and boots. He's not 16.
I like this
dad.
This comment on here. It looks to me like the person in this video has a goatee and a mustache. Never in my wildest dreams would have come up with that sketch based on what I see in the video.
Yeah.
But the sketch was from eyewitness accounts, not from the video. So this is why there's this kind of disparity. So people start making accusations now that they have this new picture, they have this new age range. Kelsey, her classmates are calling her and saying, hey, people are saying, like, I did this. I promise you I didn't kill your sister. And she's like,
God.
I believe you, but, like, I'm glad the police checked just in case, you know? And so none of these people end up being the person at the center of it. So people started anonymously reporting neighbors that they had, like, disagreements with. And remember, I mentioned the sheriff got mentioned 3 times. Like, random men they would just, like, take a picture of and be like, what about that guy? You know, so it's like they're getting flooded with calls of people probably trying to do the right thing, but it just muddied the water. Mainstream media continued to cover alleged breaks in the case. It was like anytime there was any sort of breadcrumb, they kind of went full throttle with it. Reporters were releasing photos and full names of people, like doxing people, saying they were suspects when they were not, you know, just like basically taking the story and running a little too far with it. Meanwhile, the media online is just tearing this apart. Like armchair detectives, people on Reddit, people are like looking at every little bit of a detail. You know, you have these sketches, like this is perfect fodder for, you know, online sleuthing. And it's getting kind of out of control. People criticized investigators, though, for not releasing more. They were like, if you have her phone, release more. Yeah. And they began to suspect that perhaps investigators had no information, and maybe that's why they weren't sharing it. There were now accusations that perhaps the crime scene was mishandled, the evidence had been destroyed. Like, there were just so many rumors about why this was going nowhere or what they thought was going nowhere. But investigators maintained they needed to keep most of the details confidential because they wanted whoever did it to prove that they knew information that the public doesn't know. Like, they wanted to keep some information held back to prove that they had the right guy when and if they found him. For example, if they were questioning a suspect and he provided details of the murder that only the police knew, of course, then they would know that's the right guy. So police continue to encourage people to look at the photos and sketches of Bridge Guy, listen to his voice. This is, of course, torturing the family, listening over and over again, looking at everybody they pass in the street. And now they have 2 sketches to try and find out in the wild. And they don't even have access to, like, the phone and all that, which must be so hard. Like, knowing your daughter filmed all this and you don't get more than 3 seconds, which, I mean, frankly, is probably for the best, depending on what's on there.
Yeah, you don't want to hear the sounds of something.
You don't want to just give that out to anybody, everybody, especially people close to her. But it must be, like, such a weird feeling to not have access to that. It would be years after this second sketch that Libby's and Abby's families got any more answers, and that is where we will start part 2 next week.
Oh, girl, please with this. Okay, I forgot it was going to be a 2-parter.
It's a doozy, my friend. It's a doozy. And I want to also thank Down the Hill podcast because I didn't want to mention it up top. I didn't want to prime you for the audio of Down the Hill. But there's a podcast called Down the Hill that was then turned into this documentary, and they're just like as far as I'm concerned, the foremost, you know, journalists, experts on this case. So if you want like a deep dive, definitely check them out too.
Wow.
Happy
Okay.
Friday the 13th. We're all cursed.
I know. I forgot that we were recording on Friday the 13th. I should have done something Halloween-y. By the way, we're less than 100 days to Halloween, I think now. Very exciting.
I'm so excited.
Good story, Christine.
Thanks.
Good delivery. Good everything on your end. Horrible truth. That's all I got. What are we gonna talk about?
I don't know. We have not thought about a yappy hour. I saw some people also trying to figure out how the page. I mean, maybe they're not listening anymore at this point in the episode. But quick note about Patreon too. People have said like, "Oh, I want to listen to the yappy hour, but I don't want to go into the Patreon app to listen to it." You do not have to. You can literally copy the RSS feed into, I believe, Spotify or any podcast app you listen on. I'm pretty confident about that. If I'm wrong, forgive me. But I'm pretty sure if you are a patron, because some people were saying I'm a patron, but like I don't want to listen to the Yappy Hour through Patreon. You can get the RSS feed and plug that in, and there are instructions for that I believe Megan has posted. So if that's somebody, or if you're somebody who's like, I don't want to go through the trouble of going on Patreon, you can actually, and now especially with the Apple subscriptions, you can have that directly linked to your account. So what are we going to talk about? Wait, didn't we have something? Didn't I bookmark something?
I don't know.
This is like the never-ending nonsense where I'm like, we won't forget.
I know Megan has a list.
Wait,
for us.
remember we were doing the first ladies?
Oh yeah.
Breakfast or favorite foods.
Yeah, we were.
Dirty berries from outside.
We were gonna do something, some add-on to that, weren't we? Desserts?
Dessert?
I don't know.
No.
It
felt right.
Maybe it's like last meals. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could go look up the
so stupid.
We haven't talked about them in years, I don't think, is like the people in true crime, what their last meals were.
Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's do a true crime, and we'll talk about some famous last meals. We haven't done that, you're right, in like years.
Yay! Okay, great. Well, I'm excited to talk about food.
Me too.
And
that's
why
we
drink.